I deeply believe that you shouldn't let the truth get in the way of telling a good story.
Auden,
Great to
Andy,
meet you.
it's great to meet you too. Thank you so much for the time. I really do appreciate it.
Happy to
Of
be here.
course.
Honestly, Little Lorraine is just amazing, just a wonderful film. Um,
Wow.
it
Thank you.
really, it's wonderful. It's spectacular. I mean, I love the performances are great. The story is one I'd never heard. Um, Andy, where did you get it? How did this come to be?
This came from a song that a friend of mine wrote from Nova Scotia, Adam Baldwin, and it came to me uh, with the mandate of whether or not I would make a music video for it when his album came out that song was on. Um, and I said, absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely a movie. The first time I heard the song, and when you hear the song, you'll hear what I heard, which was that it is 100% a movie through and through. So I said, I'd love to make the music video. Let's use the music video as a sales tool, pitching tool to show people how it should be a movie. And that was the birth of it.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Um, and Auden, what about you? What was it that drew you to the project? What excited you most?
Well, I was introduced to the project via a colleague and who Josh Close, who is in the movie, and I got to read the script and I immediately fell in love with just the world of it, the texture. You could feel it on the page, these salt of the earth, good men, these families, this community. I was so charmed by it, to put it lightly. I was drawn in. I was compelled by the writing in general. Like I couldn't put it down. And then for the character of Emma, she really floored me. I was kind of in awe of what she goes through. Um, Pretty unfathomable what all ends up happening, and I felt so much, yeah, curiosity and compassion and sort of awe of just how she's written. And so yeah, I auditioned and it worked out and we're here. And so yeah, I'm grateful.
Well, honestly, and I was thinking of this as I was watching it, like I think this is one of those films where the women characters are as strong as the men.
Mm.
And I think that it could have gone another way with a film about, men on fishing boats and all this stuff and, you know, smuggling and all these things going on. But the reality is the women characters are just so strong and so focused. I think you do a wonderful job in the role.
Thank you. I absolutely felt that, and I'm glad that came across.
Yeah, and I would say that um, when I saw Auden's tape, she was 100% the person that was this was it was her part to play, is what I would say. I even actually finished the tape. I think I don't know how much I didn't watch, but I saw what I needed to see, and I was like, yeah, that's Emma. So yeah, very little.
So what I'm
Mhm.
hearing is she just got through her name, and you're like, that's it, that's it. I'm Auden
Yep.
Thornton. That's it. I
Yeah,
know who my Emma is. No.
Yep.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, it was a unique scenario too because just the timing of it and everything, and then Josh, who plays Tommy, he just came up to me one day and he said, I have someone I know that I think would be great for Emma. Um, do you want me to get you a tape? And I said, yeah, sure, of course. And yeah, it was such magic.
Steve, I'll tell you something else, a little kismet, I think, which is that I'm based in LA now, but at the time I had decided to spend 6 months in Bend, Oregon, house sitting for my sister, taking care of a dog, and taking painting classes, which I'd never done before. And, it's not the theme of the movie, but Emma paints on set. I was painting in multiple scenes. And while I was in bed, I was sort of like, am I losing my mind? What are we doing here? Where's the plot? I don't know anyone here. And then, just a few months later, this audition came, and I don't know, it felt like an interesting, just one of those bizarre threads. So coincidence, who knows?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that absolutely brings it together for sure. Um, now, Andy, my understanding is you grew up in the Maritimes. I was wondering how that affected your lens for
Uh,
telling the story.
uh, yes, I did, and um, it's so deeply in me. The Maritimes is it's home for me, and it's my, it's in my DNA, and I just I knew that the feeling for it and what I would capture on camera was um I just knew that being there and with that cast and this story that we would be able to catch this sort of lightning in a bottle aspect of the the feeling of being there and the beauty of it and yeah, I knew that my first movie had to be set there, and I didn't know what the story would be, but it was just sort of very intentional for me that my first film would be set in the Maritimes because of how it feels on camera and the people and knowing that I could capture what I was after. It just made so much sense.
Well, I mean, the landscapes are beautiful. The whole area is gorgeous, just to put it mildly. And it really, you get the sense of community in this and how tough this would be for them to have this sort of thing going on within their community as well. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
was it hard to get information on something like this? Like from without saying too much, the tag at the end says that there aren't a lot of people telling stories about it.
Yeah, and the story we're telling is based on a true story, but we're telling Adam Baldwin's story from his song. So it's really the adaptation of the song, um, which is based loosely on facts. And if you dig deep enough, um, there are some news articles from Maclean's magazine from 1989, 1990, 1991 that sort of touches on the wrapping up of it when the couple people that were arrested, but there is very little information that isn't word of mouth,
Hmm.
which is what I really love about it because I deeply believe that you shouldn't let the truth get in the way of telling a good story. And when you're in Cape Breton, you will hear this story told as fact a dozen different ways. And I think there's nothing better about a story to tell in a movie than that as the background.
And that secrecy became its own like character or huge part of it was what does that say about the community that won't speak about this? What is that? That was so compelling when I read the script and yeah, is important.
Yeah, and it was also really important for not only myself, but I spoke plainly about it publicly there and to anyone that was curious that we were not looking to find out new information to tell in this movie, and that we were not looking to pin this story to anything with genuine specificity. Like we were not investigative journalists looking to dig this up. Because this happened a long time ago and it affected a lot of people's lives. And people came up to us in gas stations and said, "Oh, my uncle was on that boat," or "Oh yeah, I was there." One guy said he was a part of that. While we were pumping gas on two separate. I was pumping gas on one side of the gas bank, in the station, and he was on the other, and I liked his truck, and I asked him if I could use his truck for a movie we were making, and he said, "Oh, what movie?" And I said, "Little Lorraine," and he tapped his gas, and put it back on the stand and said, "Yeah, I was there for that, but no, you can't use this truck. It's lobster season. You crazy? I need this truck. Taking traps everywhere." And they just got in and drove away.
That's
Mm.
that's such a great
I
pivot.
said,
It
"But
sounds
wait,
like
I have questions."
yeah, I have all this information, but you can't have my truck. I'm out of here. I'm gonna
Yeah,
take it off.
yeah, and that must have happened 25 times to me.
Wow.
There,
Wow.
there's a lady that sent me an Instagram message last week that said, "Yeah, my dad was one of the guys that got arrested." I said, "Can we talk about this?" And she's just left me on red for 10 days now. Yeah.
Wow.
She went out of her way to write me and tell me, like, my dad was one of the guys that got arrested. I'm like, "Please, here's my number." Can't reach her.
That's so wild because it seems like people are like, yeah, I have a story to tell, but I'm not going to. I just want you to know I have it.
And that's deeply Nova Scotian. I got to say that is a very maritime. "Oh, yeah, I know a guy. Oh, can you introduce me?" "Oh, not sure about that. Maybe. We'll see what happens."
That's wild. That is wild to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Uh, I
Cool.
want, I wanted to ask you both a question. It's a bit big, but so forgive me. Is Jimmy a good man?
I'll let Auden lead that.
Mm. I think Emma thinks he's a great man. A great man. Yeah. I don't know how Jimmy would answer that or how, other people would answer it or how Andy would answer it. But yeah, I think I love stories that make the reader, the audience say, "Uh-oh, what would I do? What if my entire community was pushed up against a wall and all the choices were bad? What would I do?" And so, yeah, I think that's my answer.
It is interesting to see how these characters are handled because, again, without giving away details, you see Jimmy and his friends wrestling with it differently than Huey. And Huey believes he's right, and they're not sure. But they all sort of start off with that same motivation. I think Huey even says, like, I'm preserving I'm preserving the community uh,
Mhm.
with all of this, and Jimmy especially, it weighs on him though,
Mm.
um, which is pretty amazing. Um,
I just feel like he's haunted throughout the movie from the first scene, you know, whether it's intuition or demons, or we know he struggles with alcoholism. But I think there's a heroicism in that struggle as well, and in the moral dilemma. What were you going to say, Andy?
No, I was just going to say that I think that the question of whether or not he's a good man is moralistic in a way that I feel like people like existing under duress
mm,
don't necessarily have the space or the capacity to really make those choices about, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing, in the sense that he's trying to maintain his family and to keep them safe, keep them fed, keep them warm. And I think that it's a very relatable circumstance to exist in a sort of a survival mode
mm.
to enable that to prosper. and so I think that yeah, I think that what I wanted for Jimmy was that you see him as a very relatable character in this essence of like, well, shoot, I could imagine being in a position like that I didn't ask to be in, and then, you know, I have to do what I need to do for my family, but then how do I get out of this because it's not really me, you know?
Mm.
Well, that is a that I love that you said that there, because and again, this may be a bit broad, but it's said by one of the gentlemen, but by oh sorry, by the priest to one of the gentlemen says, whatever you're wrapped in, it doesn't change who you are. And I wondered if either of you or both of you felt that that was true.
In this circumstance, I think it is true because the choice was made to get a job that was going to help their families and help themselves to continue to exist and to prosper. And so the job was not made with the intention of getting mixed up in something that, you know, there is no choice in that there is a suspicion of the possibility of something going wrong, but there's no willing choice to be like a part of it. And I think that's what separates that.
Mm. I also feel I've never spoken about spiritual perspectives on a podcast before, but I would like to now. Um, the great human rights, civil rights lawyer Brian Stevenson says every person is more than the worst thing that they've ever done.
Hmm.
Something uh to that thought. And that's also what Sean Astin's character is saying. Like there's a part of your soul that has nothing to do with these actions that you find yourself in. Um, so I feel that he meant that, and I felt that was true in that moment. He was giving mercy. He was reminding him of his truth beyond all the shenanigans that are going down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I I've never heard that quote before, and I think it's utterly remarkable.
Mm. True.
Honestly, I think too often we lose that, you know? Um, yeah, it is such a fascinating film, and I love, but this is what I say, I love how the characters are wrestling with this and on deeper levels. It's not just about the score, if you will. You know, this isn't a heist film. This is a character drama, and I think it's just really beautifully executed.
Mm.
Just as we start to wrap, I was wondering for you both, what do you hope people take away from Little Lorraine?
I hope they're moved. I think we go to feel things. We go to have big experiences. I think the story is a total ride, and a surprising ride. And I hope it brings some compassion. I think that would be the big thing, is just compassion. There's so many communities that go through things like this, and there will be more. Entire communities made redundant, no systems of care to really help, very few transition. And yeah, that would be cool. That's how it left me. So all I can imagine is how it would could leave others with that. What about you, Andy?
Yeah, I think that in these next couple of years, this story may be more relatable than ever before in the sense of, um, you know, not only just losing your job, but losing your place in things, being part of a system that is dysfunctional or you know, not needing you anymore, and this feeling of being displaced, and this the urgency of needing to find your feet again, is so compelling, and I think that maybe more than ever, now in this sort of battle against AI that we're about to be entering into. Um, but I think that what I want people to be left with most in this is that, first of all, I find this story highly relatable, and it's a maritime story, but it's really for a global audience, which is uh, really special because it's not the circumstance necessarily or the setting that's so relatable. It's the feeling and the experience of the characters, and that's really what I was after. And also, at the end of the day, I want people to be entertained. I love movies, you know. I've been waiting my whole life to make movies, and I've been practicing for a while, and I have some great stories to tell. And at the end of the day, that sense of entertaining an audience is 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 truly what I'm after. And I think that if you can relate to a feeling or an understanding in those characters, then that's phenomenal, and I would love that. But I also want to be jarring at times, and I want to be compelling and provoking and thought provoking, or to sort of instill new ideas that make you consider your own place in things. But I also want you to just really enjoy looking at the images. That I think the cinematography is really special, and the costume design and production design. There's some really, really compelling just visual elements in the film that I want to leave an impression, you know? So if you leave the theater, or if you watch the film and you just say, that had a great feeling to it, and I love that story, and I love the way it looked, then I'm happy for that, you know? Um,
I am going to have nightmares about being buried alive. I will say that right now. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
honestly, I appreciate the chance to chat with you both. It is such a beautiful film and compelling and entertaining and all of those things. Michael Jordan's for everybody. Uh,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.
Great to meet you, Steve. Look forward to meeting you in person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Okay. We'll see you.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Steve.
having us on.
Absolutely. Bye bye.